Hi, James.
Hey.
Welcome to the office.
Thank you.
Here for a sensation exam today, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And it looks like you're having some issues with loss or lack of sensation in one of your arms, primarily like softer touches.
I don't know exactly what's going on, but I don't feel the sensation as much in my arm. I had a concussion a few months ago, so this could be a lingering effect of it. I'm not really sure what's going on, but I can just tell that I can't feel as much as I used to.
Okay. And I read that there was a note specifically about like lighter, softer touches that you seem to be having problems with.
Yeah, I can't really tell if it's a light touch. If I press hard, I can feel it, but a light graze, not really.
Okay. So I've pulled a couple things that we're going to be testing with today.
Okay.
And hopefully we'll try to get a better idea of what's going on.
Okay, good.
Secondary to a concussion, there can be some sensation loss.
Yes.
And it's understandable that it would be lighter touches because obviously they're less distinct, so that would make them harder to feel.
Yes.
We want to basically rule out any neurological defects.
Okay.
So if there are issues with your nerves misfiring or any kind of like neuropathy going on, we can kind of have a look at that. Are you feeling any tingling or any tingling
no.
or like pins and needles?
Sometimes pins and needles. Maybe if I wake up in the morning, I might feel some pins and needles, but throughout the day, not really.
Okay. What about any numbness?
I think so, a little bit.
A little bit, okay.
Yeah.
And how about any like loss of cold or hot sensations? Or you feel like your temperature sensation's okay?
I think temperature's okay. I can't really say yes or no on the hot and cold.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and have a look at the area to start with. So this is the affected arm?
Yes.
And whereabouts would you say?
Kind of on the inside of my arm.
Okay.
The outside, I think it's okay. But on the interior, not so much.
A little bit less?
Yes.
Okay. And kind of lower forearm? What about like up here?
Lower forearm.
Lower.
Yes.
And how about your hand?
My hands, I think, are okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so mainly here.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll definitely try to get a better look at that. I do want to test just kind of comparatively with surrounding areas so we can see what's going on there. So let me just have a look to start off with.
All right.
Okay. So I'm not seeing any abnormalities in your hair growth. The direction of your hair growth appears to be normal. It's going down, which is typical for this area. Doesn't appear to be any thinning or any signs of like extremity alopecia, which is like a loss of hair on your arms and legs. So that looks okay. Not seeing any disturbances in the hair follicle, any signs of folliculitis or like ingrown hairs. This area in particular tends to have less hair just naturally, so that's okay. Any pain as I touch your arm?
No pain.
Okay. Just checking for any signs of swelling. Apply some pressure here. I can check for any signs of edema, which I don't think I'm seeing. I want to shine kind of from the side. Have a look at your veins. Okay. So externally, everything to me appears to be what I would consider normal.
Okay.
I have a magnifying glass here. It's just going to help me get a little bit of a closer look at your skin. Again, those hair follicles are looking fine. Not seeing any abnormalities there. Skin appears to be intact overall. I'm not seeing any issues with the integrity of your epidermis. Can I have you just rotate your arm for me? I just want to have a look and see. So your skin does appear to be maybe just slightly dry, but that's probably unrelated to the issue that you're having. And then I do see a scar there. Again, probably unrelated.
Yes.
Okay. So flip your arm back over for me. Okay. So I do want to take just a couple basic measurements here, just to note any possible swelling. So let's do kind of the widest part of your arm. About 16 and a quarter. Okay, and then I want to go about 8 3/4 there. 9 here. Can I see your other arm?
Sure.
So the widest part here, that is 16. So actually you do have about a 1/4 inch size difference there.
Okay.
And are you left or right-handed?
I'm right-handed.
Okay, so it is the dominant hand that's affected. Your wrist is the same. And across, again, we have about a 1/4 inch difference. So I am seeing some very slight swelling on this side, which is interesting. That could be a cause of the lack in sensation. Sometimes if there's swelling,
Okay.
especially if it's on like a venous level, there could be some swelling in your veins, which is
Right.
causing you to have kind of that lack of sensation on an external level, but really that means you're not getting enough blood flow internally. It's not coming up to the surface area. Okay. I think what I want to do is get a baseline of your sensation on the unaffected side, and that's
Okay.
going to help us determine what you're lacking on the other arm,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Yep.
So let's start off with something very simple. And then we'll go more in detail on the affected arm.
Okay.
So this is a very soft Q-tip. Are you able to feel that?
Yes.
Okay. Versus this being pretty hard, pointy. Okay. So what I'm going to do for this is just get one kind of base layer just to see that you're able to feel things normally. So I want you to just tell me if you feel soft or pointy.
Okay. Soft, pointy, soft, pointy, soft, pointy, pointy, soft.
Perfect. Okay. So that kind of lets me know that your sensation on this side, for the most part, should be within normal limits.
Okay.
The only other thing I want to test on this side is this kind of very fluffy, very wispy brush, okay?
Okay.
So this is going to be that softer sensation that you said you were having trouble with. So can you feel that?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So you're just going to say yes when you feel it, okay?
Okay. Yes. 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 Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So I think we have a good enough idea of what you're able to sense on this side, and we can now compare that to the affected arm. Okay. So I'm going to have you extend this arm out for me. And to start, is it okay if I kind of roll your sleeve up a little? Okay. Just give me a little more surface area to work with here. So let's go ahead and do the same initial test so we can really get an idea of what you're lacking here. So in your hand, you feel that this is soft?
Yes.
And this is pointy?
Yes.
So same thing, if you can, just say yes. Pointy, soft.
Okay. Pointy, soft, soft, pointy, soft, soft, pointy, soft, pointy, soft, soft.
Okay. So let's go ahead and do the brush. Can you tell that this is soft?
Yes.
Okay, so same thing, just say yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So with the soft versus pointy, there were a couple areas here specifically that you were having some trouble with.
Okay.
With the brush, it looks like there were a couple areas where you maybe thought you felt something but weren't sure.
Right.
So there's definitely a difference from one side to the other.
Okay.
So we're not seeing equal sensation bilaterally, which obviously is abnormal. So let's go ahead and do a little bit of a deep dive into that.
Okay.
So I'm going to start by examining your arm in its entirety. So we'll do upper arm, forearm, hand.
Okay.
And then I think I'm going to end up moving more specifically into the affected area once we kind of get a general idea
Okay.
of what we need to look for, okay?
Yep.
And I am going to move forward with something similar but slightly different. And for the remainder of the test, we will be testing primarily soft, light, kind of wispy touches, okay?
Sure.
So let me know with any of this if you're feeling any numbness or any kind of tingling, those pins and needles that we talked about, okay? Any pain, of course, you want to let me know and we'll stop.
Okay.
Okay. So can you tell that this is pretty flat and dull?
Yes.
Okay. So I just want you to say yes when you feel this.
Okay.
Okay. So close your eyes for me.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Okay, good. So you were able to feel all of that.
Okay.
This is a bigger surface area, so I'm going to repeat the same test, but this time just with the cotton swab.
Okay.
Kind of gives the same sensation. The difference is that obviously this is a lot smaller, so we'll see if there's any difference here. For this one, you did quite well, so we'll kind of compare the two and see how it goes. So again, just say yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So it does look like you had a few issues there, almost specifically right in the center of your forearm.
Okay.
Okay. So that's definitely something that we're going to want to come back to. Okay, so similarly, we're going to test something that's more dull instead of soft.
Okay.
So are you able to tell that this is dull?
Yes.
Okay. Same thing, I want you to say yes when you feel it, okay?
Yes. 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 Yes.
Okay. So you actually got all of those correct. So the dull versus the very, very fine soft, you were able to tell more. So I want to set this one aside and come back to that later.
Okay.
These two, I would say, were a pass. So we're okay as far as like the whiter soft and the dull, which is good. So the next thing we're going to do is I want to simulate airflow.
Okay.
So I have a very, very light puff of air. Are you able to feel this?
A little bit, yeah.
It's very, very light. It's almost hard to tell, but so we're going to test this and just say yes when you feel it. If you don't feel anything, it's okay.
Okay. Yes. 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 Yes.
Okay. Again, there seemed to be more of a loss in this area here, okay? So I'm going to set this one aside and we will come back to that.
Okay.
Okay, so I think we're going to do one more where I do kind of a variety here as well as your hand, and then we'll move on to more of that affected area.
Okay.
So I want to simulate what would be kind of like skin texture.
Okay.
So can you tell that this almost feels like skin? It's a soft silicone, but it kind of mimics someone touching you.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna kind of do a variety of either brushes or kind of taps, and I want you to tell me just yes if you feel it, okay?
Sure. Yes. 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 Yes.
Okay, so you did slightly better with this one, and it could be because this is, again, a bigger surface area.
Right. Yeah.
So I'll kind of set this one here, and we can maybe come back to that. So let's move on. I'm going to go ahead and fix your sleeve. And as far as I can tell, the sensation here and here seems fine, okay? So I'll use your hand as just an example area so that you know what it feels like, since we're aware that you can feel things here.
Okay.
And then the testing area will be here where you seem to have more of a loss in that sensation, okay?
Yes.
So let's move on, and the next thing I have is this very soft sponge. So it's a little scratchy, but it is very, very soft.
Okay.
I want you to tell me if you can feel this, and this time we're going to do a little more specific testing. So I want you to tell me if you feel a swipe or a push.
Okay.
Are you able to tell the difference?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so you'll say swipe or push, or you can say tap. Okay?
Okay. Swipe. Push. Swipe. Push. Swipe. 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 Push. Swipe. Push. Swipe. Swipe. Push. Push. Swipe. 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 Push. Swipe. Swipe. Push.
Okay. So you did fairly well with that. The times that I used a lighter pressure, you had a little bit of trouble with, but the times where it was a little more obvious, you seemed to do okay. But you were able to tell between the different types of touches, which is good. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is some pinpoint testing, and this is very soft. It's not a sharp tip at all. It's actually smooth and round. This is spring loaded.
Okay.
So when I go to touch you with it, you might feel it just barely touch your skin, or you might feel it a little bit deeper. Shouldn't cause you any pain. It's very, very smooth, okay?
Okay.
So I just want you to say yes when you feel it, and then we'll move on to a secondary test with this, okay?
Yes. 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 Yes.
So there were definitely some discrepancies here. You were able to feel when I applied more pressure and
Yeah.
used the spring, but when I brought it to the surface of your skin, there were times where you weren't able to feel it at all. Okay? So we'll definitely hold on to that and come back later.
Okay.
And I'm going to move on to more of a brushing sensation. And I have a couple different brushes here. They're all very different. So we'll start with something that's the most obvious. I know it's the smallest, but because the brushes are so densely packed and it comes to an angle, you should theoretically be able to feel this one the most.
Okay.
So can you feel this okay?
Yes.
Okay. So these are going to be very light.
Okay.
And I want you to just say yes when you feel it, okay?
Okay. Yes. 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 Yes.
Okay, so you actually did really well with that. You didn't have any issues feeling this one, okay? So we'll set that over there, and we're going to move on to the second one. And again, this one is very, very densely packed. There are a lot of bristles very close together. So you're able to feel that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This time we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to start at your elbow and come down to your wrist.
Okay.
I want you to tell me if at any point it feels less here than here or
Sure.
here, if that makes sense, okay?
It does.
Ready?
Yes. It feels less right there.
Less here?
Yeah.
Okay. Same throughout?
Yeah. Less right there.
Less here?
Yes.
Same there?
Yes. Less.
Less here?
Yes.
Same there?
Yes. A little bit less, but mostly the
Mostly
same.
the same?
Yeah.
I'm going to go in the other direction. Same thing?
Same. Less in the beginning.
Less here?
Yeah. A little less in the beginning.
Okay.
Less right there.
Less here?
Yeah. Same.
Okay. I'm going to go from bottom to top. Same.
Yeah. Less.
Less here?
Yes.
Okay, but same up here?
Yes. Same. Same.
Same all the way up?
Yeah.
Okay. So we were having a little bit of loss here and then here.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so let's try something even lighter. So these are a lot more spread apart. There are a lot less bristles and it kind of curves.
All right.
So can you feel that okay?
Yes, I
Pretty
can.
fluffy. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing. Tell me if you feel it less at any point, okay?
Yes. Same. Less.
Less here.
Yes. Maybe a little less.
In the middle?
Yes.
Okay.
About the same.
And going this way.
About the same. About the same. Less.
Less here?
Yeah.
Okay.
About the same.
Okay, we're gonna go from bottom to top.
Same. Less.
Less here?
Yeah. Same. Same.
Okay. So with this one again, more so here where you were having that loss, which I think is where kind of the root of the problem is.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go back to this, and I want to focus primarily on this area because this seems to be where the majority of the loss is.
Okay.
Okay. So this time what I want to do is kind of distract you a little bit. So your brain really has trouble, and this is for everyone, has trouble processing more than one touch at a time. So that's why people say like, oh, if you have a headache, stub your toe or something like that, because you have trouble focusing on more than one area at a time. So for example, if I touch your finger and touch you here, it might be a little difficult for you to tell me what I'm doing on either side with your eyes closed, because your brain is trying to pick one and ignore the other one. So what I'm going to do is test this in this area. This is the device that you seem to be having the most trouble with. And I'm going to also simultaneously touch your fingers, and I want you to just say yes when you feel this.
Okay.
Okay? So close your eyes for me.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Okay. So you actually did better than I expected, but there still were some problems. So the more that I focus my attention on your finger and the less pressure I apply here, the harder it is for you to tell that I'm touching you in this area.
Right.
Okay. So let's see. The focus of the loss seems to be kind of centered here, and that does run along where your veins are. So can you make a fist for me? I want to see if there's maybe any, is this painful at all when I touch you? Okay. Let's see. I think I might be seeing what the problem is here actually. So make a hard fist there. Do you see this little bubble?
I do.
Okay. Right there?
Yeah.
So I think that might be the root of our problem. So it looks like there's a blockage in that vein. And it's blocking your neurons from firing up to your skin, so your epidermis is not receiving the normal signals of touch that it would.
Okay.
And because this area is closer to that blockage, so you're able to feel here, not so much here.
Right.
Okay. So there are some things you can do to help get rid of that. I think you might just be having some issues with draining properly. Do you ever have issues with circulation?
Sometimes, yeah.
Like colder fingers, colder toes,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think what I'm going to have you do at home are some hand exercises.
Okay.
So while you're watching TV or anything, you can kind of focus on your grip strength. There are different devices you can buy that will help you practice with that. So there's like therapy putty, which is something that I can give you. There's also like hand bars that you can grab that will help you change your grip strength. So those are things that I definitely would recommend to you.
Okay.
In the meantime, you want to do what's kind of like exposure therapy.
Okay.
So while you're at home, whether it's you or your significant other or whoever is able to do it, I would recommend kind of overstimulating this area, and as you do it, I want you to watch yourself do it, and then I want you to do some where your eyes are closed and you're still doing it. That's going to kind of reteach your brain that things are being stimulated in this area. So for example, let's say you're sitting on the couch, I want you to kind of gently run a brush from an unaffected area down to where it's affected.
Okay.
And then you can do it with your eyes closed, move to something that's maybe a little bit of a different texture, but you can still feel it.
Okay.
Okay? And that should help hopefully refire some of those signals. Unfortunately, it's not something that I can guarantee that will bring improvement.
Right.
I'm happy with the fact that you are able to feel things. I don't see that you would have any issues with like feeling something that would be burning you or something that would be sharp enough to hurt you. Luckily, loss of soft sensation tends to be safer than loss of like hard sensation, because you don't want to miss if anything is kind of injuring your skin. So like I said, there are things you can do at home. A little bit of exposure therapy, kind of overstimulate that area, do those hand exercises, and hopefully you'll see some improvement there. Okay?
Sure.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming in, James. If you feel like this problem is getting worse, or you want to have it retested to see what your progress is, you can always call the office and come back in.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Well, thank you so much. I hope you get some relief, okay?
Thank you, me too.
Have a good day. Thank you for coming in.
No problem.